Hey, what's up guys? Drew here over at RevHiker Outdoors, and I got a video for you today. Now I know like the roots of my channel were basically for like budget gear and ultralight hiking on a budget and bushcraft on a budget, and I like to do budget stuff. And I've had a couple people complain with some of my knife videos that I'm doing knives that are too expensive, so I try to do some budget stuff. And anyway, what I've got for you today is something that kind of goes back to what I started the channel for, and that is a piece of budget gear. Actually, two pieces of budget gear. And it is the TNH Outdoors Sleeping Bag and the TNH Outdoors Inflatable Pillow. This thing's really cool, by the way. I'll get to that, but I'm going to do the sleeping bag first. So, most people have had like the ambiguous Coleman $40 sleeping bag from some store, you know, anywhere from 30 to 40 bucks. And they figured, hey, this is a good sleeping bag, and they get it, and it's really not. It's not that warm. Everything kind of bunches up after a couple uses, and they're very heavy and bulky, and they don't have a stuffed sack, and there's just really not that much good about them. If you're just putting a kid in it for like car camping once a year, I guess they're okay. But they're usually kind of too short for anybody that's approaching 6 foot or more than 6 foot. And they're just not that good. They seem to like tear easily. And so, you know, everyone thinks, well, you got to spend a lot of money to get a good sleeping bag with quality materials, etc., etc. Well, that's kind of where TNH comes in, and I'll talk a little bit about the company. They're kind of like, they try to be very eco-friendly, and their packaging is biodegradable. So if you're like big in the environmental stuff, go ahead and check them out. I'll put a link for their website down there. I'll also put links for these things on Amazon down there if you want to check them out. They do sell only online to save the cost. And speaking of cost, for this is a sleeping bag rated at 0 degrees Celsius or 32 Fahrenheit, and this is 38 bucks, 38 and change. So this is like your $40 Coleman, only it's actually good. So let's jump into that. I have spent a night in this in my hammock. I used it as my top quilt. It was about 40 some odd degrees, and I was like way too hot. I did have an under quilt, and like I said, I used this as a top quilt and not as a full sleeping bag, but it's quite warm. I think the 32 is actually probably fairly accurate on this. Some of them, like 32 or whatever their rating is a bit of a stretch. This thing was pretty accurate. It is definitely green. Let's just jump into this thing. This is the foot box here, which is quite generous. Now, one thing that you're going to have to deal with, and it's really not a big deal, but some people don't like it, is their brand name is on here in several places, and some of it's pretty big, and they have like their social media stuff kind of plastered all over there. And for me, I don't care, because I could care less really what stuff looks like as long as it works. But some people might not like that. Down at the bottom, where your feet go, when this unzips, it's nice. They put a good gusset in here, and the zipper will separate all the way, so there's no chance of ripping that zipper if you're kind of stretching on it when the bag is all the way open. Plenty of room in the foot box for me, and they got some little, I don't know, tie outs. Basically, they made the outer material waterproof. So if you're like in a tarp shelter trying to go ultralight, and this gets some water on it, it's going to shed the rain. And I poured some water on it. I sprayed some water and poured some water. Just kind of beat it right off, which I thought was pretty nice. It's not a coating. It's the actual, they chose heavier, you know, nylon to make it waterproof instead of just coating it. So it's not the lightest bag in the world. I think you're looking around 3 pounds, or just under 3 pounds for a 30-degree bag. It's not great. There's certainly lighter bags out there, but they also cost a lot more than $38 and like 77 cents or whatever it is. It's ridiculous. The length on this was really good, and the hood on the mummy part of it was really easy to cinch down. You know, had a little baffle in there behind the zipper. You know, there's enough material, not like a purpose-built baffle, but there's enough material where it doesn't get drafty by the zipper. There's a lot of features on the bag that you find on higher-end bags. This is definitely has a lot. It's much more feature-rich than your $40 Coleman bag, which I thought is nice. I did, however, have some issues with the bag, some things that I didn't like. And it's not build quality, it's not anything like that. It's more like my preference. So I'm about 6'1", and I have kind of broader shoulders. You know, I'm not like a really slim person. You know, your typical hiker type is, you know, usually very slender. I'm not very slender. You know, even when I had a six-pack, I don't quite have a six-pack now. When I did have a six-pack, I still weighed 190 pounds when I was playing football. So I have a bigger frame. And so with the width of my shoulders, you know, I wear like an extra large shirt, and it's usually kind of taut across the back and my shoulders. So I'm kind of broad. But this thing was too narrow for me, honestly. It's 31.5 inches long, or excuse me, wide, 31.5 inches wide, and I really need something that's probably 34 at least to be comfortable. This thing at 31.5, I kind of, if I had my arms at my side, my elbows were tight against the side. You know, like the back, my triceps and my elbows were kind of tight. And I know that if I was using it as a sleeping bag instead of a top quilt, those would have been pinch points where the cushion was, you know, the insulation was pinched, and they would have been cold spots. So if you're a bigger build and you're going to use this as a traditional sleeping bag, it might not be the best. For a top quilt, it's perfect because it's not so huge that you're wasting weight on extra material that you don't need. For a top quilt, for a hammock, this thing's boss. I really liked it, and it worked quite well. So I had no issues there, and it is plenty long enough at like 86.5 inches, something like that, 86.6. So plenty of length on it. Even I had several inches left. So I think if you're like a slender guy and you're 6'3", 6'4", this would still fit you. I'm 6'1", and I had plenty of room in it. Height-wise, it was just a little cramped on my shoulders and elbows, if I'm being honest, which I am. So for me, and the stuff sack it comes with is actually pretty nice too, and you can actually get this thing pretty tight. So like I said, for the same 40 bucks that you would spend on a cheap Coleman bag, you're getting a lot more features. You're getting better nylon in this for sure. You're getting better insulation. You're getting a decent stuff sack, a compression sack, not just a stuff sack. So you're getting a compression sack. I don't know, for me, if you're looking to not drop a ton of money on a bag and weight isn't the biggest concern in the world, I would certainly take this over, you know, your ambiguous department store bag any day of the week. So there we go. That's my thoughts on this. What I think I'm going to do is do the pillow in a separate video, but I'll release them pretty close together. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Like I said, check these guys out. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. And if you're interested in this, check out the Amazon links. If you guys buy anything via the Amazon links on my channel, it does help me just a little bit, since YouTube cut the vast amount of my you know, ad revenue. You know, I'll put it this way, I don't do YouTube for money at all. I do it simply because I have a lot of viewers that want me to continue making videos, because it's really not worth the time and the effort that I put into it. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If you do choose to buy this, and I'm not a shill for this company at all, but use my links if you do, because it would be appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys. God bless. Don't forget to thumbs up and subscribe. I will catch you next time with a review on the TNH pillow, which I like a lot. Catch you later.